second. If you look up at the screen, we put together a website that we will share with you in a little while, so you will have access to this. And we call it Granny's World. There are 3 of us, as you heard just a little while ago, who are part of the team to help you. Keturah lives in Arkansas, and she'll be helping you with some topics. Dimitri lives in Maryland, and he'll be helping you with some topics. And then I live in the Houston area. And just so you know, we're all educators. So we all have experience working with schools. We all have experience working with students. And even more importantly, we all have experience working with adults. So again, on behalf of my colleagues, I just want to say how exciting it is to be invited to be part of your group. So the thing that we're going to talk about today is your device. The laptop that's provided to you by Granny's World. So if you just take a look at it, what's really interesting about the device that you are using is it's a computer. There are different kinds of computers. And, you know, just like you were talking about FaceTime and Skype and Google Duo, there are different kinds of computers. In the olden days, like way in the 1990s, computers were really big. They sat on a desk. You couldn't move them very easily. You had to go to where the computer was in order to use it. Well, over time, things changed. We tried to become easier to use and more mobile. And so what you have in front of you now is called a laptop. It's a fully functioning computer, but the difference is you can take it with you. I mean, you can't, but it's a mobile device that can be moved around. So, you know, when the desks are all moved together, it's going to be easy to move the laptops. It wouldn't be that easy in the olden days with the big ones. So with a laptop, there are different ways that they work, and there are different kinds of laptops. The one that you have right there is called a Dynabook. You will hear about Chromebooks, you'll hear about Macs, you'll hear about Apples, you'll hear about PCs. So no worries about all that different language. What's important for you to understand is that you are using a laptop right now, and it's called a Dynabook. So what I'd like you to do right now is we have this plan. So this is probably the most important thing for today. I'm going to demonstrate something, then you're going to do it as a group, and then I'm going to give you time to do something independently. So it's going to be real important you listen to what I say first, then you're going to do things as a group, and then you're going to do something independently. And you know from working with people, if everybody's talking at the same time and moving around and hollering out, it's really hard to hear. So if you have a question when it's your time to do something independently, if you want to just raise your hand, somebody will come around to help you instead of hollering out that you need help. So those are just kinds of the things that help a class or an environment like this be more successful. So what I'd like you to do right now with your laptop is it's got a hinge on it and a lid that you can flip up. I would like you to flip that lid up on your laptop right now. So you do that, please. Open up your laptop.
You're good to go, Mary Beth.
Everybody's laptop is up?
Oh, they're ready.
Are they logged in?
No, they have not.
So they have not logged into the machine itself?
No, in fact, let me give them instruction as to how to do that. If you can, is someone's phone going on? Okay. At the top of your keyboard, and I'll show you here, you'll see a button to the far right. okay, that looks like a circle with a little line that's pointing up. That's the power button. That's the power button. So you're going to press that power button and you'll see. It's not working?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, okay, press the power button, power up the computer. And I want you to look at the sequence of numbers above the keyboard, the buttons on the white tape.
It's not working. Oh, no.
There you go. Okay, the white tape above the keyboard, you'll see a sequence of numbers. When your pop-up window, when your desktop window comes up just as it is, hit the space bar. Or hit any key. Now you'll see a login. Just hit any key, sir.
Any key?
Any key. Any key. Just press a key. There you go, and you'll see a white login. All I want you to do to log into your computer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at the last sequence of digits. You just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and hit enter.
Enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hit enter.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Hold on. Yeah, you went, I think you went a little bit too far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, enter. Okay, hold it right there. Hold your position.
Great.
Okay, hold your position. Hold your position. You're in. Okay,
Everybody's in?
What about me?
you're there.
You're there.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Don't worry about how
Click,
different it is.
click yes. Click yes on the dialog box. Yeah,
There you go.
yes, Alan. You're good with the mouse. You're good. You're in.
Sal, how you doing?
I'm asleep. I'm fine.
Huh?
I'm fine.
You okay?
I believe so.
All right. Have you got to where it says Granny's World?
Doesn't say that.
Yes, yes, yes.
It should look just like her
They-
screen.
They don't have to go to Granny's World right now, just that they're logged into the computer.
All right,
Yeah.
we're all in.
Yeah, some of the machines were defaulted. They had opened at Granny's World.
Okay,
Yeah, hang on. Oh, okay. Okay, so she wants you in the machine.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you're perfect. Click out a yes on this. Just minimize this. And when I say minimize, can you minimize yours, Ms. Cohen?
No, I'm not.
Okay, right here, that's to minimize it. And we're gonna, okay, just hold your position. And Katura is gonna take you on a ride of instruction. That's fine.
okay, so what you just did is called logging in. When you're on a device, like a computer, and it works on phones too, the computer or the phone needs to know who you are. There are certain permissions that are set for different people to do things. I'll give you an example. In a school, there may be one computer that when teachers log in, they can go to the grade book, they can go to the finance department and see the payroll information, they can access email. Where the same device, if a student logs in, they certainly couldn't get to the finance department. In many schools, they wouldn't have email. They would be able to get to certain places on the internet that the teachers could get to, but the students couldn't. So on those computers that you're using there in Granny's World, those are set up for you guys when you come to class to be able to do certain things. So that's why when you come every day, you'll use that login, and then that device on the network knows that you're part of the Granny's World group and you will have the ability to do certain things. So one of the terms that was used was desktop. That screen that you're looking at right there in front of you, not where the number keys are, but where it's the picture part, that's called a desktop. And as we go through these sessions, you will learn that there are certain things that you can put on a desktop. It's sort of like a real desk, except it's virtual. It exists on the machine. So within your desktop area, you will be able to put certain symbols. Those are called icons. And I think there's one on your desktop right now that looks like a little rainbow button. And it's in order for you to later on this afternoon to be able to get to Granny's World. So you can see, if you're looking at the screen and looking at me right now, I'm talking to you through my computer. It has a built-in microphone. My computer also has a built-in webcam. Your laptops have the same thing. So way up in the very top edge above your desktop area, you might see a little dot. That's where your webcam is. So I heard people talking about Skype. If you're going to Skype with a family member, then through Skype, your web camera turns on so that you can see the person on the other side. That laptop that you're using also has a built-in microphone so that you can just sit there and speak, and the microphone built into the laptop will be able to hear your voice and project it to somebody else. Now, a cautionary note, not every laptop has a built-in webcam. So just an FYI, if you're looking at laptops, if you're looking at devices, and let's say you're going to get one for yourself or for a family member, that's a good question to ask. Does it have a webcam? If you're never going to talk to anybody through it, no worries, then you don't need it. But if you ever do want to do something like Skype, then you would absolutely want the webcam. Okay, you learned where the power button is on your laptop. I want you to refresh your memory. And do you see that it has a little circle icon with a little line through it? That's a universal symbol for power. So let's say you have a different kind of laptop and maybe the button is not right in that same place. If you look on the sides of a different laptop or in the keyboard area and you look for that symbol, you're going to be able to turn on your computer or your laptop because that's a universal symbol for it. You also have a keyboard on your laptop, and notice the keyboard is not in alphabetical order, which is very confusing for little bitty kids who are just learning how to sing their ABCs. Because when they look at a laptop, it's like, why isn't it in the same order as the alphabet? Go figure, that's just the way they are. You have on the right-hand side of your keyboard the numeric keypad. So for some purposes, you might sometimes want to use the numeric keypad. If you look above the alphabetic keyboard, you will see that there are numbers up there too. So there are different ways that you can get to the number keys. In the middle of the bottom, that near the keyboard on the bottom part of your laptop, there's a big area there we call a touchpad. The touchpad allows you to move things around on your screen. It takes a little getting used to. So what we've done for Granny's World, instead of learning how to use the touchpad, you all should have a mouse. So I'm going to hold up my mouse on the screen. Do you see this black thing with a button on it and a little scroll wheel in the middle? You should have a mouse. Instead of using the touchpad, we're going to use a mouse while we're doing Granny's World. And the reason Keturah, Dimitri, Homer, Terrence, and I decided that that would be a good idea is because it's a little easier to use at the beginning. And once you get to be a really competent, experienced veteran users of your computers, then the touchpads will be fine. It just takes a little more getting used to. So now that you have all those buttons, you see all the buttons and you know where the power button is, I'm going to tell you this more than one time. It's the oddest thing in the world. But when you turn off a laptop or a computer, you don't press the power button to turn it off. There's a different way that you should turn off laptops and computers, and it isn't by pressing the power button. You just keep that tucked in the back of your mind, and I'll come back to it a little later. Okay, above the numeric keypad, above the alphabetic keyboard, there are some other buttons that begin with F. Do you see those way up at the top, close to the desktop? Those are called function keys. Those allow you to do other things than just press numbers or letters. So we have a handout for you. I don't know if it's printed right now, but it's on the Granny's World website. And if you look at my screen up here, I did a picture of the function keys. So we'll come to be using these in a little while, but just know that they do something else besides type letters or numbers. They have a certain function that they do. I'll stop for a second. And does anybody have any questions? Cool. Okay, I'll stop every once in a while and ask for questions. What I would like you to do now is to look on your desktop in the lower left corner, and you should see an icon, which is a symbol, and it looks like 4 windows. Okay. That's the home button on our laptops, on our Dynabooks. Okay, in a little while, we're going to use that home key because that's going to get us to a lot of places on our laptop. But first, we're going to look at the mouse. So I have a picture of a mouse. And does everybody have the handout for the mouse?
It's a mouse. You should say that your hand is on it. No, you're fine. You're at the right point. Yeah, you're there. Yeah, you're good. You're good. No.
Thank you, everybody, for your help.
Your hand out. Your homework. Have 3 items. What did you say?
Okay. So here's just a little understanding. I want you to just be thinking about this. If you went into someone's kitchen and you asked for a potato masher, it may not look exactly the same as the potato masher you have, but pretty close enough, and it would be able to help you mash potatoes. Or if you go into someone's garage to their toolbox and you ask for a Phillips head screwdriver, it may not look exactly identical to your Phillips head screwdriver, but it's going to function the same. That's the way it is with a mouse. Everybody's mouse may not look 100% identical, but it's going to function similarly. So I want you to just look at your mouse, and I want you to put it on your table with the little, what looks like a wheel. It's the scroll wheel facing up towards your keyboard. So like it is in the picture.
You see the little wheel right in the middle of the mouse body itself.
Okay, so a mouse for your kind of laptop has two buttons, one on the left and one on the right. The main part of the mouse is called the mouse body, and that little wheel up there is called a scroll wheel. So what I'd like you to do now is look at the picture on your handout about how to hold a mouse if you're a right-handed person. Is there anyone in the group who's left-handed? Okay, because you can configure a mouse for left-handed people. My mom was left-handed and she used a mouse for a left-handed person. Okay, so when you put your hand on the mouse, and I want you to do that right now, you think about a peace symbol, and you're going to use your right hand and you're going to use your right index finger, and it's going to be on the left, where the left mouse button is. And then you put your tall man or your middle finger where the right mouse button is, and you sort of leave that area where the scroll wheel is, you just leave that between your two fingers. And you sort of hold the mouse in the palm of your hand, although just a little off the palm of your hand. And then you rest your thumb on the left-hand side of it. And you don't do anything with your ring finger or your pinky finger. So now I just want you to take your mouse in your hand and just move it around on your desktop. It should slide real easily. In the olden days, in the 1990s, we had to have a mouse pad for the mice to work. That's not the way it is anymore. Mice will work easily without a mouse pad now, generally speaking. Okay, sometimes you will want to do something on your screen and it will require you to click the mouse. When somebody says click, they always mean a left click. And that's a single click with your left mouse button, which is your index finger. So just single click. Should be easy. Just you can feel it go down. That's a single click. Sometimes you will need to double click. And when you double click, if you think about the commercial where they say pizza, pizza, that's how fast you want to double click. And a double click is always with your index finger on the left mouse. So do a double click, think pizza, pizza. So part of using a laptop or any computer is getting used to using a mouse. Now, there are other things that you will want to do on your computer where you'll need to right click. And when it's right click time, somebody will always say right click. So if they just say click, it's a left click. And they won't say left click, they'll just say click. Or double click, it's always a double left click. If they want you to do something on the right-hand side, they'll say right click. And that's been the way it was ever since people have been using mice since the early 1990s, or really the late 1980s. Okay, now you're ready to take your mouse. And I want you to look, move your mouse enough so that that little pointer on your screen, on your desktop, that's called a cursor. I want you to take it so that cursor is pointing at the window icon in the lower left corner of your desktop. That's the start button. So just take it. I want you to look. I've got my hands in the air, but my cursor is still down there. So I'm not clicking anything. I'm just letting it rest there. So when somebody says go to the start button, it's always down there on the left-hand side, and on your laptop, which is a PC, personal computer, and your Dynabook by Toshiba, the start button is always going to be down in the left corner. If you're using a Chromebook, it's a little bit different. If you're using a Mac or a MacBook or an iBook, it's a little bit different. So just that you understand for these computers. So now I want you to single left click. So left click on your start and see what it does. Cool, huh? Your laptop has a number of applications, and we shorten that sometimes called apps built into it. Now, remember way early on this afternoon, somebody was talking about FaceTime and Skype and Google Duo. Those are apps. Those are applications. Well, your PC has apps and applications. And on the left-hand side, they're in alphabetical order. So now I want you to take your cursor, which means you have to move your mouse a little bit. And I want you to not click on anything, but just move your mouse over some of those words on the left-hand side that are your apps. Pretty cool. Do you see how it's highlighted when you get your cursor over it?
How you doing, Sal? I'm gonna report on you. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
All right. Okay. Carmen, how are you doing?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, look up.
Okay, it appears as if we're ready. So now I want you to look at my screen. I don't want you to be touching anything. Here is my mouse. This scroll wheel, when I rest my index finger, I can make things move on the screen called scrolling. It makes the screen roll. I'm not going to press onto the button. I'm just going to roll it. Now, don't do anything yet. I want you to look at my screen. I put my mouse down and I'm rolling my scroll wheel. And do you see how I can roll through the applications on my computer? And I may have different ones than you. So I can roll it towards me and I go through the list, or I can roll it away from me, back up towards the keyboard. Okay, so now I want you to do that. I want you to hold your mouse, use your index finger, don't press down on the scroll wheel, but just roll it towards you and roll it away from you so that you understand how things scroll. Hey. So great progress.
Yeah, with the mouse wheel. Okay, if you wanted to go all the way to the bottom, as Mary Beth had mentioned, you can roll the scroll wheel. And you can navigate all the way to the bottom of the lower part of the.
It's really interesting. You know, we talk about what computers have built into them, but when you add apps to your computer, they automatically go in alphabetical order, which is very helpful. And you don't have to do anything, just automatically comes that way. Okay, I want you to roll until, or scroll until you find the C, C for cat. Okay, in the C's, there's a calculator. Almost all computers have a calculator built into them. So now I want you to single left click on calculator. And the calculator app should open up. Now, for working today, I want you to use the numeric keypad that's above the alphabetic keyboard. So you're staying in that main area of your laptop, okay? So now you're going to use your mouse and you're going to use a left click every time. I want you to click 25.
How do you do this? Yeah.
See how it shows up? Because your mouse is making the calculator function. Okay, now we're going to multiply. So we're going to use the X key for multiplication. And now I want you to do a 6. So we're doing 25 times 6 and stop right there. And this is what we do with kids all the time. We say, I want you to estimate, or I want you to calculate what the answer is, and then you can check it by clicking the equal button. So think about first what it's supposed to be, and then click the equal button and see if you were correct.
And click the equal button. I'll click off on the equal button.
Okay.
Oh, I think you went 25 too many times.
Yeah, I know.
We're not 25 times 6.
25 times 6.
You're 100%. You're 150%.
You have to go see calculator.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Hang on. Yeah, okay.
calculator, click, okay.
6 times 25.
No, 25 to 5 times 6 equals
Oh, yeah. I did.
150. You're a genius. You're a genius. Okay.
I love the
Hooray.
format. I love the format.
Okay. Now we're going to clear that. So click the CE button
CE on the calculator.
on your calculator app, the CE button.
I zeroed out.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
I love it, Lupita. I love it.
It doesn't go.
Okay. This time we're doing 52 plus 3. 52 plus 3.
Plus 5-2 plus 3 plus. You're the
And then I want you to think about what it should be and then check yourself by clicking the equal sign.
Oh.
uh-oh.
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 And then you want to erase it, then you have to.
52 plus 3.
What's the difference between C?
52 plus 3.
It's just clear everything, and the other is just.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that plus sign. This one? Yeah.
Okay, the main reason we're doing this with the calculator is to give you mouse practice. Is holding your mouse, moving your mouse, and being able to get to the keys. So 52 plus 3, I hope you found out, was 55. Okay, let's clear that. Click CE, we're going to clear that. Okay, this time we're going to do 13 minus 7. 13 minus 7. Think about what it should be, then press equal and check your answer.
so you said 13, Mary Beth?
13 minus 7.
Because I did it
Yeah,
wrong.
what am I doing? Here, click 7. I already 13 minus, just click 7. 7 equals. Equals.
That was.
6.
Yeah, but how come
13 minus 7, she has 7, she hasn't pressed the equal sign.
Oh, I haven't checked it yet.
Yeah, she hasn't checked it yet. Yeah, so Lupita has checked and double checked already.
Okay, well, now I did.
Okay.
So this is a great way for you to practice your mouse skills. And honestly, being competent and a veteran user of your mouse will help you be real successful on the computer. Because it's allowing you to find certain spots on the computer to click. Okay, now you're ready to learn. What do you do if you want to get rid of the calculator? So look on my screen now. Look at my screen. Don't be doing anything on yours. In this calculator application, this window where I've got the calculator, in the top right corner, don't click anything on yours, just look. there's a little minus sign, a box, and an X. The X on an application or in a program will allow you to close it. The little minus will allow you to minimize it. Don't do it on yours, watch on mine. I'm going to click minimize, and the calculator app comes down to the bottom of my screen, and it's right down here, minimized in my taskbar. This part of my computer on my desktop is called a task bar because it's where I've got all my tasks laid out. If I want to look at the calculator again, I just rest my cursor on it, left click, and up it comes again. So what I'd like you guys to do right now is I want you to use the little minus sign to minimize it. Left single click to minimize.
And minimize it up here, whenever you're in an app. That minimize, that's the full screen, and that's the shut it. Not that, the minus, the minus. Minus. Right there. Click it, click there.
Minimize.
It drop down here. Okay, so when you minimize it, it drops to the bottom. You see, or either you can just do this, click it down there. Okay.
And then what you see down in your taskbar is the little icon, which is the symbol for the calculator down there. Okay, we want it to get big again, so we want to maximize it. We're just going to single left click on the icon in the taskbar, and it gets big on your screen again. We maximize it. That's the way people can keep a lot of things going on their computer. They don't always close everything. Many times they minimize it, send it down to the taskbar, and it sits there until they're ready to use it again. Okay, now we're going to close it, and the close button is always that X. So click on the X in the top right-hand corner, and remember when I say click, it's a single left click. Close out your calculator, and notice it's not in your taskbar anymore because you closed it, you didn't minimize it. Okay. Here's a test, it's a big one. See if you can open the start menu again. Sorry, that's my phone. Can't answer it. I want you to open the start button, please.
Start button.
So that's the lower left corner, single click on those 4 windows.
The start window, the windows.
The start menu.
Start menu is going to come up right here. Uh-huh.
Yoo-hoo, you should see your applications again.
You already in it, you're in it.
That's what you call the start.
Yeah, that the start button, the start is down here.
I did that.
And then the start
Oh,
menu.
that's what it's called.
That's what that menu is called, the start
Okay,
menu.
now I know what. I was looking for a start menu.
Hey,
In the olden days, in the late 1980s, early 1990s, it said the word start.
yes, it did.
They've taken words off to help with space, and because most people know the icons now. Okay, want you to use your scroll wheel and find N for no. Scroll until you find the N's for no. Oh, it might not be there, so don't worry. Mine, they moved it to a different place. We're not gonna worry about it. Do you have N for no? Do you have? No, I didn't think so. What I was looking for was something called Notepad, but the place that I think it is, I think it's under Microsoft Office Tools.
It is.
We're not going to worry about it. So that was poor planning on my part. I'm sorry. Okay, now we're ready for the big time. So we're going to get off the start menu by just clicking on start again and it goes away.
I got you.
Now, I would love to answer some questions. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
No questions?
The only bad question is one that you do not ask.
Okay. Then because you've been sitting about an hour and a half, we're going to take about a 5 to a 6 minute break. So if you have to answer a call, visit the lady or men's room, stand up and stretch, about 5 to 6 minutes. I'll watch the clock, but take a smidge of a break, even if it's just standing up and stretching. That's good for the brain. Gets a little oxygen flowing. 5 to 6 minutes. We'll start back a little like 2:30 or 2:31.
It's just the basic, you know?
Mary Beth,
Yes, sir.
I love the format. I think
Oh, I love your help. Thank you.
the format is great. It's much smoother.
Yes, we need that extra time. That was so wise.
And opposed to the hour, one a day, it was just way too much. And I think that next Tuesday, we won't have the 30-minute preamble ahead of time. So we'll be able to just plow right through a lot of stuff,
Absolutely.
but I think this is great. This is
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Just trying to set the stage, you know?
Well, and today it was kind of difficult for me to get out of LA. It was a little traffic. And yeah, because it's, where am I? I'm about 90 miles outside of LA.
Oh,
I mean,
mercy.
Right, so I drive, it's about 90 miles long, but
Wow.
exactly.
But aren't you glad you're not up in the Sierras right now?
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's plenty of snow and plenty of mud up there now because of the fires.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I've been watching it.
well, you know, I'll tell you the truth. I'm excited about just getting rain. That was the most
Yes.
rain we've in probably about 6 years.
You know, I was watching a special on Lake Mead and Lake Powell and, you know, the irrigation in your farm areas, you know, the Central Valley, and our daughter lives in Phoenix and they're the same way with just, it's dreadful. So, and here we are in Houston and we just many times get more than we need.
But it's giving you the indication that we're not in control of this.
Absolutely.
We're definitely the cause of it, but we're definitely out of control on this stuff. If anyone thinks that this is just the way the weather patterns work, that's not true. This is something that's definitely out of sync.
Outside the norm for sure.
Look, Mary Beth, we're after today, yesterday it was in the 60s, Okay, last night it was around in the high 50s. Today we're in the mid 70s. In a couple days, we'll be in 80-degree weather again.
Again, yeah,
And here we are in the middle of fall.
yep, I get it. I trust me. If you, the people who are coming in, if you can start, you know, let them stand there, but head them towards their areas, that'd be good. We've got about 2 more minutes, but
Everybody, get back to our seats.
Well, I was looking at the LG.
Okay, Group2.
I just came from.
Make it quick, Lupita, please.
Yes, yes. But because I have all my test lectures, I don't want to. So you could come over here.
No, no iPad, no iPhone in this class. Yeah, and see, and we're working with the Android and the Microsoft application. That's a completely different animal, and we may get there, but it won't be in this. I can promise. Yeah, but hey, stay with us and enjoy the laptop. Yes. Okay, folks, it's about that time. Mary Beth, I'm going around up the other 2 and then we'll be underway.
Yeah, that's they have it. My son who came out, he always likes Samsung. I just got here. The new Samsung that is that all the that's 1,099. That's for the 50.
I was gonna ask that. Well, Walmart, you know,
I know, and that's what I was trying to figure out.
I don't wanna take a class on Zoom, I just try to find an exercise.
Last time,
I
was downstairs.
Yes. I want that one that she was teaching like a yoga class. Anyways, so it was like stretching and there was
Okay,
and she did that over the.
we're missing one.
I didn't know.
okay.
Girl. We're missing one, but
That can happen. It's okay.
she left late. She left to go to the ladies' room late, but we can get started and she'll be right back.
All right, so you can help that person. It's just good after you've been sitting for a little while to get up and stretch, get the blood flowing, you know, a little change of oxygen. We know that's best for learning. Okay, thank you for coming back. You guys are doing amazingly well. So if you look at my screen, I'm shooting some confetti out for you. There's all sorts of amazing things you can add onto your computer. It's not real confetti, it's virtual confetti, but it's pretty cool. Okay, on your desktop, there should be that little rainbow, sort of rainbow eye circle with red, green, yellow, and blue, and it should say Granny's World. That's going to get you to this particular website.
No.
But
it'd be
it's
an icon.
it's
This, which says Granny.
it's important that you listen now. When something is on your desktop and you want to open it, that's when you have to do a double left click, the pizza, because the first time you click it, selects it. The second time opens it. We didn't have to do that with the calculator because the calculator was in a list of apps. And when we rested our cursor over it, that was selecting it. So all we had to do was single left click to open it. But when there's an icon on your desktop that you want to open, that's when you have to do a double left click and you think in your mind, pizza, pizza. So I want you to find the icon, which is that little circle, which really is a circle for Google Chrome. We'll talk about that in a little, but double left click on it, say to yourself, pizza, pizza, until it opens up to Granny's World, which should look like what you see on my screen. So go ahead.
Double click. Pizza, pizza.
Sorry, doing Granny right now. Gotta go. Bye.
Now you got it. Good. Okay. X out of this. Granny's World. Double click.
Yeah, she did say.
So hold it there. Hold it there. Hold it there. Yes, sir.
Okay, I get the Google.
X out of that. Click, double click. Granny's World. Granny.
Okay, I need my
There you go.
card. Okay, I was.
There you go. Okay, just hold your position right there. Hold your position.
Okay.
Okay, you're in Granny's World. You don't have to do anything. Okay,
So-
go right ahead.
Awesome. I love it. So what you've done so far this afternoon, think about everything you've learned. You've got an understanding of the keyboard. You know how to power on your machine. You know how to get to the start button. You know how to get to the calculator, how to use the calculator buttons, how to minimize something so it gets small and goes down to the taskbar, how to close it with that X up in the top. So now we're at Granny's World, which is where Katura, Dimitri, and I are putting a lot of our materials. So when you're at home and you want to practice this, and I'll show you how to do it in a little while, but where it says link to site and it says bit.ly/Granny's World, that, and I will show you how to do that in a minute, but that's how you can, on another computer that doesn't have the shortcut on the desktop, that's how you can get to all this information. Okay, one of the things that I want you to see on our website is the navigation buttons are up in the top right-hand corner. So there's a black bar way up at the top, and there's a button that says Home, Pre-Assessment, and Device Orientation. I want you to click on Device Orientation. That's a single left click on Device Orientation. So what we have on this page, and now on a website like this, you use the scroll wheel. Remember, you don't press on it, you just use your index finger and you roll it slowly towards yourself. This takes you down through the page, the web page. So you can see the handout for your laptop. Keep scrolling down. Roll your scroll wheel with your index finger. How to use a mouse. Going all the way down to the bottom. Keep scrolling all, oh shoot. I forgot to do something. Stay there. Oh my gosh. I hope it's still there. Oh, hallelujah. Okay. Now you're going to learn something that you didn't need to know before, but click back on home, way up at the top. Click back on home. Now go back to device orientation and scroll down again to the very bottom. Where it says learn about adjusting volume.
Learn about adjusting volume. Device orientation.
It's not going to show up unless you first go back to home and then go back to device orientation. And that was my fault when I was preparing the page. It doesn't usually work like that. That was my fault. Okay. So I want you to look at your laptop now, and I want you to look at the keys. And I want you to look at the F7 and F8 keys. Do you see on F7, there's a little minus sign next to what looks like a horn with a little minus sign? That horn is the icon for the volume on your computer. And with the little minus sign, it means make the sound a little less. F8 has a little horn, that's the sound icon, and it's got a plus. That means make the sound a little louder. So when you're listening to something on a computer, and today you're going to listen to some sounds, when Katura works with you later on in a couple weeks, she's going to help you learn about YouTube, and then you will hear people speaking, and you will need to know how to make the volume louder or softer. So down at the very bottom of this page, where it says listen to easy music, and then there are some words that have a blue line under them, don't click it yet. That's called a hyperlink. It will link to another page on the internet. It's really cool. So instead of having to type in a place to go on the internet, we put in what's called a hyperlink, and it will just link you to another page on the internet. So I would like you to single left click on where it says https://soundcloud.com. Click on that link, single left click.
Click this time. Right there. Left click. There you go. Watch this.
Anywhere.
Okay, you're gonna scroll down to the bottom of the page. Click that. Okay. Now she wants you to adjust the volume.
Okay, I'm in here now.
Okay, click the link, the hyperlink. It says listen to easy music. Okay, now this exercise is for increasing and lowering the volume.
I have to hold it up or just
So
click?
you can tap, 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 tap.
Okay. Remember how we do this. I do something, then we do it together, and then you do it. So we opened up a hyperlink to a website called SoundCloud. and there's free things that you can listen to. So I want you to look at my screen for a second. In order to make the music play, there's this little play icon. It's like a little forward button. Don't click on it on yours. Just watch me. So I'm going to single click on it, and then I'm going to make the volume on my computer go up and down so you can hear. Okay, and to stop it, I just clicked off it.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
So when you click it, I want you to look at your F7 and F8 keys. In order for them to work, you have to hold down the function key, which is on your keyboard, and it says FN. Look on your keyboard, down towards the bottom, and it says FN, it stands for function, and you hold that down, and then you use your other hand to increase or decrease the volume. Okay, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to explore this sound and how to increase and decrease. Go ahead now.
Got it? Oh, this is beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. Hold on, no. You're gonna hold this key. Yeah, the FN, that's the function. So you put your finger there. Now, no, then you're gonna do that 7 or F8 or F6. See? So you gotta hold, see, and remember the group function key? You have to hold that while you press the function keys at the top. Okay?
I did that on
Hold it down.
Yeah, and then.
It's all the way up, it's high as it. You going up. Hold on, no. Yeah.
That's as high as it goes.
That's as low as it goes. That's as high as it goes.
So that was.
No, don't look at this.
Okay, I'm trying to do this.
Oh, no, why did it? There's too many graphics. How are you ladies over here?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Are you okay, Lupita? Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at that other.
You see, that is
Yeah,
here.
I see that, but I thought this was also moved.
No, that's just a graphic, the picture on the screen.
I guess I know too much, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot on the screen to look at, so it can be confusing sometimes.
So it's important because when you're working on a computer, there's just like you can see people and you can talk with people and you can go to the internet and watch videos or news broadcasts or listen to music. It's important that you know how to handle the volume. So understanding the volume keys, that F7 and F8, and because they begin with F, it means that it's a function key. And that's why you have to hold down the FN or function button with one finger while you do the F7 or F8 to get the volume up or down. It's dreadful for people when they know how to use a computer and they're trying to listen to music or a movie and they don't know how to change the volume. It's, it might be too loud or it might be too soft. So it's good to always know how to be able to do that. On any computer, on a keyboard, you're going to be able to find the raise and lower volume buttons. So you're going to always want to look for that icon that looks like a horn. And the minus sign will always be the indicator for it decreasing or getting lower. And the plus will always be to increase or make it bigger. Are there questions about that? Yes,
Yes.
ma'am, or sir.
Yes, ma'am.
The FN key, do you hold it down for every function key?
Do you
Yes.
hold the
Yes.
function for every time you manipulate a function key?
So the function key works on those little icons that are in the little boxes. Because if you didn't press that and you pressed one of those other keys, then it does something else to the computer, like it might bring up the help menu or it might put it in standby mode. But when you see those little icons, those little pictures on the function keys, then you hold down the FN, the function button, which also has that little box around the FN, so to sort of help you understand that you press that when you want to activate one of the buttons with that little boxed picture. Does that help?
Yes, that helps. What does the F9 key do? Explain.
So on that, there should be a handout that you got that was for all the function keys. And F9, let me see if I can find that.
It's blank, it's not called out.
So on your machine, F9 does not have a shortcut. So honestly, I don't know what it does, but it doesn't do anything with volume or brightness or anything like that. On this particular handout, the one that's got the picture of your Dynabook on it, down at the bottom of the handout, it says function keys. And I wrote below it, below each of those keys, that I thought you would use sometime. So if you look at like F2 and F3, those will increase and decrease the brightness of your screen. And F7 and F8 will change the volume. F6, if you use function in F6, it will mute the sound like that. If you've ever watched a movie and people are in a meeting and maybe they're really looking at a web page or something, and all of a sudden, you know, the movie comes on and they really shouldn't be watching it during a meeting, they'll press that mute button to make sure that the sound goes off immediately. So that's on the handout with the picture of the Dynabook on it. Okay, now I want you to look down at your laptop again on the desktop area and look in the far lower right-hand corner. Do you see how it has a clock and a date? That's always the way it is. And that part of your computer down there, which is in the far right-hand side of the taskbar, is called your system tray. And the system tray just helps you know the date or remember the date, the time, and there are probably other things down there.
Right there.
Now, on your granny page, so you need, let's look way, way up at the top of your screen, way up at the top of your desktop. You should see, look at my screen first, you should see a tab up here, like you have a tab on a file folder, and it says Granny's World. And then you should have a tab that says Stream Slow, Calm, Soothing. That was where the music was. And on that tab that says stream, slow, calm, soothing, there's an X. What does an X always mean?
Get out.
No, it's get out.
Where am I going?
You're gonna go to the top.
Delete that. row.
Way, way, way up to the top of your desktop, way to the very top, right below the black bar that's the plastic around the top. You should see a purple little icon that says Granny's World Device. And then there should be a tab that's got a red icon on it that says Stream, Slow, Calm, Soothing.
Yes.
Okay, next to Stream, Slow, Calm, Soothing, to the right of it, there's a little X. Single click that X and it closes that website. That was the music website.
She's saying this calm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here's the other X.
Yeah.
Where do I turn this on? That's
No.
where?
No, that's the magnifier page. What she was talking about was the music page that you were listening to. Yeah, but you are out of.
Yes,
You
tell
will
me
be,
to turn it.
yeah, you will be out.
I was gonna say.
Okay, I hear someone's music still. Isn't that interesting? You're in Oceanside and I'm in Houston and I hear your music.
Yeah.
So if you have a tab up at the top, way up at the top, looks like a tab on a file folder and it's got a red icon and it says calm and soft and soothing. There should be an X next to it and click on that X, it closes the page.
Okay. Close your page. Thank you. Okay, same with you, Lupita. Did you get it? Okay, wait a minute. First close this dialog box. Hit cancel. Hit cancel.
And when you close that, it should leave your Granny's World page open.
Okay, now X out. Right there. Yeah, right there. There you go. Okay, now you're good. All right.
Okay, now, I would love it if everybody would have a little piece of paper that they can write something on. And do they get to take the handouts home or do they have to leave those?
Oh, absolutely, they take them home.
Okay. So on one of those handouts, this on my screen is what I want you to write on that paper. Right here, begin with BIT period.
We're gonna take this short
Right
URL.
here.
That's what we're copying. Link to the site.
BIT period LY. It's short for bit.ly. And then there's a forward slash. You can see how it looks. And then all one word, Granny's World.
No punctuation behind the Y. Okay, no comma.
Nope, bit.ly / Granny's World.
All small letters.
Yeah, well, yes.
So if somebody says to you, or you have a computer at home, what did you learn? Oh, well, we learned a lot of things and they were on a website, but I don't have the website. Well, that bit.ly/Granny's World, if you type that in to a web browser, then that will take you to this website. Now, when Katura meets with you next week, she's going to talk to you about how to do websites. So she will teach you how to do websites, but if you're at home and somebody wants to help you with it, or you have a computer and you know how to do websites, you can just open up a website. I'll show you right here. I'll open up a brand new one. Brand new. Not much on it. And I'll type up here bit.ly, and I'm typing it in, Granny's World. And then it automatically takes me right here, which is where I was before. So Katura will be teaching you about that next week. She will also be helping you with an email account. So my homework for you is just, if you have a laptop or a computer, that you open the top, you look at the keyboard. If you have a mouse, you practice a little bit with that. If you can remember the start button down in the lower left corner, you know how you can find different applications. And if you get really afraid and you say, well, I'm in this and I don't know what to do, you can always go up into the top right-hand corner and you will find an X and you can close something. So I just opened this website. I'm going to click up in the top right-hand corner. I click close. Bingo. Now I'm back to where I was with you before the first time. So you know how to click and double click. We didn't do any right clicks today because there was no reason to. But you have this button up at the top to help you get to device orientation. And I had hoped, Terrence and Homer, that we would have had time to do the pre-assessment, but it's just doesn't look like it's going to work today.
We'll take care of the assessment afterwards.
Okay, that would be awesome because I had that on my to-do list.
Yes.
We also have a button up here to help with vocabulary. So this is a little slideshow, and it will help you go through some of the vocabulary that we were covering. And I'm going to add to it now that I know what we've covered today. So I will ask again, does anyone have any questions?
Bless you. Any questions, anyone?
Okay, then
Yes,
I would
yes,
like.
we have one question.
Okay,
When I have here Granny's World device, I can click that and close it. And then it's also Granny's Work. Which one do I do first? This one or this one?
Okay, wait a minute. She's looking at,
To close it.
okay, to close it, what happened and either one, both of them, because you opened it up twice.
Well, I was practicing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
both of them and both of them.
Yeah, what happened, I'm sorry, Mary Beth, is that she opened another Granny's World tab. And so she was unsure as to which one to close out of, and I just said both of them. Yeah, because she created another instance.
I was
So.
practicing.
you know what? After just an hour and a half, look how accomplished you are. So don't worry, by the time you finish all the sessions, you're just going to be a veteran user. But good questions. Okay, you might remember at the beginning of the session how you learned how to press the power button to turn on the machine.
Hold on, Mary Beth, no, we gotta take the assessment.
Oh, you're gonna do the assessment?
Yeah, we're gonna do the assessment.
Okay,
I'll turn
then
it off.
promise me that you will teach them how to go down to start to shut down then.
I promise.
I knew it.
100%. I promise, Mary Beth.
Perfect.
You have
It's
my word.
just, okay, so you will learn how to power down the machine. I want to thank all of you. You've persevered well. Sometimes it's a long afternoon when you're learning new things, but you were extraordinary. So I'm going to send up some more confetti for you. Congratulations. You guys did a great job. Pat yourselves on the back.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
No, thank you all. I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Love y'all. Take care.
For sure.